In this video, we're going to solve the system of linear equations given by 3x plus 4y equals negative 5 and x plus y equals negative 3 using the substitution method. For this method, we need one of our variables of one of the equations isolated so that we can substitute into the other equation. As we look at these two equations, we want to determine which variable would be the easiest to solve for. In that first equation, 3x plus 4y equals negative 5, it would take quite a bit of algebra to solve for either x or y. But in the second equation, solving for x or y would be pretty simple. So we'll take equation 2, and we will solve for either x or y. Here I'm going to choose y. I could also choose x just as easily, though. So the first thing I'm going to do is solve x plus y equals negative 3 for y. So I'll take that equation, and in order to solve for y, I can subtract x from each side, and that will leave me with y equal to negative x minus 3. So now I've rewritten that second equation. Now that I have y isolated, and I'll highlight that y, I am going to look at that first equation where I have 3x plus 4y, and I see that y is also there. So I am going to substitute y in the first equation with the expression negative x minus 3. So I will substitute y into equation 1 with negative x minus 3. So I'll take 3x plus 4, and I'm going to replace that y with negative x minus 3, and that equals negative 5. Now that I have an equation of one variable, I can solve this linear equation for x. To do so, I have 3x plus 4 times that quantity, negative x minus 3, all equal to negative 5. So to do so, I'll need to simplify that left-hand side in order to isolate x. I'll distribute the 4 across negative x minus 3 as my first step, and get 3x plus a negative 4x plus a negative 12 equal to negative 5. This will now simplify to negative x minus 12 equals negative 5. To isolate negative x, I'll add 12 to each side, which will give me negative x equal to 7. And then to get x on its own, I'll need to either multiply or divide each side of that equation by a negative 1, which will give me x equal to negative 7. So at this point, I have the value of x that is a solution, or is part of the solution, to this system of equations. The next thing that I need to do is determine the value of the other variable. And to do that, I'll substitute this value of negative 7 back into one of those original equations. Now again, I can choose. And looking at that first equation, I could certainly find the value of y by replacing x with negative 7, but it'd be a little bit more arithmetic than if I chose the second equation. So I'm going to choose the second equation, and so I will find y at this point, and to do that, I'll take x plus y equals negative 3 and replace that x with a negative 7. So now I have negative 7 plus y equal to negative 3. To solve for y, I'll add 7 to each side, and that will give me y equals 4. At this point, I know that the solution to this system of equations has a value of x equals negative 7 and y equals 4. I'll check that just to make sure I haven't made any errors. And it's important that I check into each equation. So I'll replace x with negative 7 in the first equation and y with 4, and I'll do exactly the same thing into the second equation. So I'll take 3 times negative 7 plus 4 times 4, and I'll check, does that equal negative 5? So I'll get negative 21 plus 16, and indeed that equals negative 5. So I've checked that first equation. Now I'll check the second equation, and I'll replace x with a negative 7 and y with a 4, so I'll get negative 7 plus 4. And I can see immediately, I'm checking, does that equal negative 3? And of course, negative 3 is equal to negative 3. So that one checks. When I state this solution, I'll state it as an ordered pair, which we generally do when the variables are x and y. So the solution is the ordered pair negative 7, comma 4. We might also state the solution set, which would simply be written as the set containing the ordered pair negative 7, 4. So if we wanted to write that, I'd say the solution set is, and now I'll just write the set using a curly bracket. So I'll write curly bracket, the ordered pair negative 7, 4, and then put another curly bracket to show that that's the set.